Have you ever had that strange feeling that as much as you work hard, money never yields? How if there was an invisible force by emptying your pockets without you realizing? You may have done everything, controlled spending, renegotiated debts, seeking new sources of income, and yet abundance never seems to settle for good. If this sounds familiar, know that you are not alone, and that there is a deeper and more spiritual reason for that most people are unaware of. A reason that Father Pio himself, one of the most respected saints in church history, understood with impressive clarity. During his life, Padre Pio advised thousands of the faithful, and many came to him with the same dilemmas that you may be living now: multiplying accounts, income that evaporates, financial situations that make no sense. But what made his unique advice was not only his theological wisdom, it was his profound spiritual connection, his gift of seeing beyond the visible world to realize how the energies invisible around us directly influence our material life. For him, it was not just a matter of money. It was a matter of environment, spiritual frequency, subtle energy. Padre Pio believed and stated firmly that many homes were impregnated by an atmosphere of scarcity without their residents, and that certain, apparently innocent behaviors, such as saving money in certain places in the house, could generate lasting financial blockages, not for witchcraft, but by energy imbalance. His vision was clear. The home, much more than a physical shelter, is a spiritual temple, and everything that is placed within it responds to the laws of the invisible. When these laws are violated by ignorance, even the most honest and workers end up trapped in cycles of loss and frustration. Maybe that sounds strange at first glance, but think carefully. How many times have you heard someone say, "My money disappears," or "I get and it disappears"? How many times have you felt this yourself? And how many people do you know that, even earning well, live in debt, always trying to solve financial problems that seem to multiply on their own? There is something more happening, something that is not explained only with spreadsheets or financial education. Father Pio saw this clearly. He saw where many did not see. According to him, our house has its own energy field, and this field can become a channel of blessings or a swirl of losses, depending on how we interact with space. The place where we put the money, for example, is not neutral. There are places that symbolize protection, multiplication, blessings, and there are others who carry, by spiritual and energetic nature, meanings of loss, forgetfulness, devaluation. When you deposit your financial energy in these negative places, albeit unconsciously, you are programming your finances to stagnate or disappear. Padre Pio did not say that as the theory. He watched in practice. Many people who sought him were desperate, without explanation for the blockages they faced, and by guiding them to change small things inside the home, like where they kept the money or how they organized certain spaces, the transformations began. Sometimes slowly, sometimes almost miraculously. What seemed impossible was starting to open. What was locked flowed, because deep down, everything is energy. And money is one of the most sensitive expressions of this energy. We are not talking here about magic, but of a reality that the ancients already understood, and that modern science begins little by little to confirm. Environments carry vibrations, and these vibrations shape our daily experience. A house with forgotten corners, rubble, energy dirt, or misplaced objects becomes, according to Padre Pio, a space where blessings cannot remain. The money arrives, but it doesn't stay. Opportunities knock on the door, but leave without warning. Life seems an eternal effort without harvest. And that is why this video is not just informative content. It is a call to consciousness, a real chance of reconfiguring your space, and thereby reconfiguring your financial reality. Because, as much as you strive, if the environment around you is misaligned with the principles of spiritual prosperity, you will be swimming against the current. And there is no human strength that thrives in this movement. Now stop for a moment and look around you. Think of the rooms of your home. Do you know where each value is stored? Have you ever reflected if this place conveys security, respect, and dignity to your money? Or do you, like so many people, hide it in practical but energetically destructive places? Like a forgotten drawer, the bottom of the kitchen cabinet, or under the mattress? Father Pio taught that it is not enough to have faith to attract blessings. It is necessary to act with spiritual wisdom. And wisdom here means observing the invisible, recognizing that everything in your home is part of an interconnected spiritual system. It means not treating money as trivial, but as a manifestation of divine providence, a resource that, when treated well, multiplies. But when it is devalued, hidden, or neglected, it runs away, like the sand dripping between the fingers. Right now, you may be wondering, so what should I do with my money? Where should I put it? This answer will come soon. But rather, it is essential to understand how certain behaviors, repeated over the years, have created an energy field that becomes the pattern of your life. And changing this pattern requires more than good intentions. It requires action. Throughout this video, we will go together the 7 main places that Padre Pio warned as spiritual traps for prosperity. Let's understand why they block the financial flow and how to replace them with blessing and multiplication spaces. You will also discover real stories of people who have applied these teachings and witnessed powerful changes in their finances, many of them without changing anything but the energy of their homes. What comes next has the power to turn the key to your financial life. And no matter what your current situation is, whether you are indebted, surviving with little, or even comfortable but stagnant, this knowledge is for you, because he reveals something that few dare to say. Poverty is often not out, but inside our house. And only when we clean this energy route can the true flow of prosperity begin to act. Take a deep breath. Open your mind. This is not a common video. It is a way, a path based on faith, spiritual wisdom, and conscious action. A path that has already turned thousands of lives, and that if you allow it, it can transform yours as well. Now that you understand that the environment in which you live is not just a physical space, but an active spiritual field, it is time to reveal the most dangerous places for your home's financial energy. Those who, according to Padre Pio, operate as true invisible traps, capable of silently sucking your prosperity, no matter how hard you make. And perhaps the frightening is that most people keep their money just in these places, believing they are protecting it, when they are actually exposing their finances to continuous emptying. The first place that needs to be avoided at any cost is under the mattress. It seems obvious to some, but for many it is still seen as a safe, discreet hiding place, free from unforeseen events. However, according to Padre Pio's teachings, this habit carries a dangerous symbology. The mattress is the place of rest, sleep, unconscious delivery. By putting your money there, you are literally telling the universe that your wealth should be dormant, out of action, inert. The sleep energy is of dismissal, of absolute rest. And what rests for a long time without purpose, dies. Also, think of how many feelings, anxieties, and fears accumulate in your body as you sleep. How many worries have you packaged your sleep? The mattress absorbs it all. And the money kept in this nightly and often turbulent environment is impregnating these negative emotions. People who keep this habit often report distressing dreams, recurring concerns with lack of money, and a strange feeling that nothing goes, even when life seems organized. The second place that Padre Pio pointed as critical is the kitchen, more specifically, the cabinets where we keep food or utensils. It may seem contradictory, as the kitchen is traditionally a symbol of abundance. But that's where the warning is. The kitchen, by nature, is a consumer space. Everything that comes in there is destined to be transformed and consumed quickly. When you keep money in this environment, the dominant energy that surrounds it is of transformation and emptying. It is no coincidence that many people who keep their values hidden in this room report that money gives nothing, evaporates, or just passes by. In addition, The kitchen is a place exposed to heat, fat, moisture, elements that in the energetic plane bring instability, agitation, and waste. It is not an environment for storing something you want to multiply and maintain safely. On the contrary, it is a place of intense turnover. The money there behaves like the ingredients of a recipe, come in and out, and you don't even realize where it was. The third place, and perhaps the most neglected, is the bathroom. This, yes, according to Padre Pio, should be avoided at all costs. The bathroom is the space of elimination, discharge, disposal, and all the spiritual symbolism of this room is linked to the release, cleaning, removal of waste. Making money in the bathroom is like putting it inside an energy drain. The very nature of this environment communicates to the universe that what is there must be released, dissolved, removed. Moreover, the bathroom is a highly energetically sensitive place. It carries the vulnerability of the exposed body, the silence of the intimate moments, of often repressed discomfort. It is not a place for sacred goods. Padre Pio believed that money should be treated with reverence, respect, as a blessing sent by God. When you put it in a disposal place, it is even unintentionally dishonoring the energy that sustains it, and this dishonor manifests itself in your life as loss, unforeseen, accounts that come out of nowhere. These three places, the mattress, the kitchen, and the bathroom, each represent in their own way symbolic aspects that clash with the frequency of prosperity. While the mattress transmits inertia, the kitchen expresses accelerated consumption, and the bathroom full discard. They are like inverted filters. Everything that enters comes out. And when your money gets used to these environments, it becomes part of this vicious cycle. You receive, and it escapes. You save, and something takes you away. But don't think that recognizing these mistakes is reason for guilt or regret. Quite the contrary. This is liberating, because now you know. Now you can change. Now you have a key that was once hidden in your hands. And most importantly, you are taking a step that millions of people still ignore, living trapped in the autopilot of habits that sabotage your financial life without realizing it. And if you have come here, it is a sign that your heart is ready for this transformation. So I want to make you a special invitation. If this content is touching your conscience, if it makes sense and awakens something inside you, don't keep it just for you. There is an entire community of people like you seeking answers and often tired of fighting alone. So subscribe now to this channel, but not just by routine. Subscribe as a symbolic act, as a commitment to yourself, not to ignore the signs that life gives you, not to repeat old habits without questioning them, to assume that your house will be, from now on, a fertile ground for abundance. And more than that, I want to invite you to interact with this content in a living, true way. Nothing just comments down or likes if you liked it. I want to ask you something different. Look inside your house now, yes, mentally, and say to yourself, what is the room of my house that most represents block for me today? And share it in the comments. It may seem simple, but by naming this space, you are already starting an energy release process. And when you write this, something happens. You commit yourself. You transform. Remember what Father Pio always said, God does not abandon those who have the courage to change. And change does not require great revolutions. It starts with a gesture, a new look, a silent but definitive decision. In the next few minutes, we will explore 4 more places that carry this invisible weight on their finances. And you'll be surprised, maybe even clashing, when you realize you're using some of them right now. But don't worry. Along with every revelation, I will show you the way to healing, the path to energy alignment. Because it is not enough to identify the blocks, it is necessary to replace them with points of light, with spaces that favor the flow of grace. Now that we know the first 3 places Padre Pio considered spiritual traps for money, under the mattress, in the kitchen and bathroom, the time has come to expand this understanding. The truth is that many of the environments we use for convenience or simply by habit carry deep symbologies that act against everything we want to build financially. They are like silent zones of energy drainage, and when you become aware of it, something inside you awakens. You begin to see home as a living organism, which breathes, communicates, and responds to how it is treated. The room you should avoid is close to electronic devices. Yes, those spaces where you, perhaps by practicality, leave a wallet, a pack of notes or coins next to the router, television, computer, or even a mobile phone charger. Apparently harmless, this habit has a deep energy impact. According to Padre Pio, the electromagnetic fields emitted by these devices directly interfere with the vibrational stability of money. In other words, the energy of money, which should be fluid and centered, becomes fragmented, dispersed, unstable. Imagine leaving a seed on a soil that constantly trembles. It is almost impossible for her to create roots. It is the same with the money exposed to this disorderly vibration. It begins to behave like the environment, agitated, chaotic, hard to control. This explains why many people who keep their values close to electronics live with the feeling that they cannot organize financial life, as if focus, clarity, and control. As if money did not obey a planning, but he had his own will and a desire to disappear. The fifth critical site identified by Padre Pio is the attic or the basement, those generally forgotten areas of the house where everything that is no longer used is kept, where time seems to have stopped. These places, although they seem only functional, have a very strong spiritual load. They accumulate not only objects but stories, memories, damn emotions, and everything that is placed there tends to be forgotten, neglected, stagnant. Putting money on these environments is like burying your living prosperity. It is sending a direct message to the universe. I don't need it now. Or worse, this is not enough to be where I see. Spiritually speaking, the attics and basements are dense regions. They receive little light, little air circulation, and are often ignored for months or years. It is as if the home itself ceased to take care of them. By keeping your money there, you transfers this negligence to your financial life. And it is not uncommon to hear people who kept values hidden in these places report that they forgot that they had money saved. Forgetting the appeal itself is the clearest sign of disconnecting with the energy of abundance. The sixth place to avoid is the garage or outdoor areas of the house, such as balconies or deposits. And here comes a very important detail. The garage is, by nature, a traffic space, a place where you don't stay, just passes. It is the point between the inside and the outside, between the shelter and the outside world, and everything that is stored there is energetically unstable, as if it never had a defined destination. According to Padre Pio, saving money in a place of passage sends a vibrational command that resources should also only go through his life and not stay in it. In addition, many garages are cold, dark, loaded with forgotten objects. They vibrate in a field of transience. These are not places of permanence, and the money saved there absorbs this impermanent nature. This is why often those who maintain values in this space reports instability in finance, constant unforeseen events, and difficulty maintaining a solid reserve. Finally, the seventh place, perhaps the most unexpected, is the drawer of the desk or personal office. You may be thinking, but the office is not the ideal place. That's where I deal with my business, my planning, my accounts. Precisely for this reason, Padre Pio made a special alert. The problem is not in the seriousness of space, but in the emotional weight that usually accumulates there. The office, for many people, is the place of effort, collection, debt, obligations. By keeping money in the midst of accounts payable, stressful documents, and mental pressures, you convey to your money the energy of constant struggle, sacrifice, wear. It is as if you say, without realizing it, for prosperity to come, it needs to be heavy, difficult, loaded with pain, and the money, by resonance, responds to that. He manifests himself with excessive effort, with short results, with scarce rewards. It's the law of the mirror. What you feel is what you attract. Can you understand now how small details make all the difference? How can the choice of place where you keep your money be generating a spiritual field that directly interferes with your results? Padre Pio understood with an impressive clarity that prosperity is not just about having, but how to relate energetically to what one has. And maybe now you are wondering if these are the places that sabotage my financial life. So, where should I really keep my money? This answer is coming. But before we go to this next step, take a deep breath, because what you have learned so far has the potential to cause a turnaround in your life. And make no mistake, energy changes produce real effects. When you change these habits, your financial reality will also change. You will realize that that money that always disappeared begins to stay, that the unforeseen ones reduce, that new opportunities come from where you least expect it. Because what was blocking was not just an external factor, it was the invisible field generated by the way you deal with the energy of money inside your home. And now that you recognize these 7 harmful places, I invite you, start observing your home with spiritual eyes today, not as a deposit of things, but as a sanctuary of blessings, where each corner has a purpose, a vibration, a message. Father Pio always said, God visits the heart that prepares space. And this space is not just inner, it is also physical. This is where you sleep, where you keep your values, where you plant your intentions. And if your home is vibrating scarcity, it will be very difficult to support abundance. In the next block, let's reveal what are the best places to store your money and how to turn your home into a true portal of spiritual prosperity. You will not need to spend a penny. You just need to align your conscience with the eternal principles of divine energy that inhabits all things. The journey continues, and you are closer than you imagine the transformation you have sought so much. Now that you know the 7 places that, according to the spiritual teachings attributed to Father Pio, silently sabotage their finances, perhaps your heart is anxious to know, where should I keep my money? Is there a right, blessed place that really favors the growth, protection, and multiplication of my resources? The answer is yes. And the beauty of this is that it does not depend on wealth, luxury, or special conditions. It depends only on consciousness. And it is this awareness that you are cultivating now, step by step, revelation by revelation. Padre Pio believed that money by nature carries a life force. It is an extension of the divine energy of provision given to us to manage wisely and gratitude. And like all energy, he responds to the environment in which he is. Therefore, saving money must be a sacred act. It is not just about hiding to avoid theft or loss. It is about honoring, to recognize that this value is the result of your time, your dedication, your gift placed at the service of the world. And where this value rests should reflect this reverence. The best place to store your money, according to the spiritual orientation attributed to Padre Pio, is within a special box made of natural material, such as wood, ceramic, or clay. No plastic, industrial metal, or makeshift containers. Natural materials have the ability to neutralize energy interference and keep the vibration of what is within them. They act as filters, protecting, stabilizing, and amplifying the energy of the money deposited there. And this box, in turn, should not be thrown anywhere. It must have a specific place, high and clean inside the house. The recommendation is that you choose a visible but reserved place. A high cabinet, an altar, a protected shelf, preferably in an environment that transmits peace, welcome, and organization. It may be the main room or the living room. Avoid places where there is constant flow of people or much exposure to everyday confusion. And mainly, keep this space clean, ordered, fragrant, not because it is superstition, but because the external order reflects the internal order, and order attracts the flow. More important than the container and the place, however, it is the intention with which you deposit the money there. Father Pio taught that money should be kept with a simple prayer, a thank you, a blessing. It can be something like, "Lord, bless this value that represents the fruit of my work. May it be multiplied with wisdom, that it serves my mission and never missing to bless my house." It is not the formula that matters. It is the heart that puts meaning in practice. This little gesture, repeated with faith, changes the energy field of its relationship with money. You are no longer someone who only keeps for fear and becomes someone who consecrates what he receives. You become a channel, not just a container. And the channels, when they are clean and open, are never dry. Many people who applied this principle report impressive transformations. Some say that after starting to save money in this way, he has felt more security, more peace, and even more gratitude when dealing with finances. Others say they started attracting opportunities that seemed locked, as if the energy of the home had finally allowed abundance to enter. And it's not an exaggeration, because when you change the spiritual field of your home, the world around you responds. Another important detail: avoid storing values mixed with pain objects, bad memories, or debt-related papers. This is a common mistake. Putting money in the same drawer where charges, fines, processes, or photos of difficult times are. These memories vibrate. They carry an emotional load that transfers to everything around them, and the money there begins to respond to that frequency. Loss, weight, suffering. Remember, money blooms in lightness, order, gratitude, never in fear. A practice recommended by many devotees of Padre Pio is to put, next to the box where the money is stored, a small symbol of protection. Can be a medal, a cross, a biblical phrase, or even an aromatic candle. This is not empty ritual, it is spiritual language. It is a way for you to say, this space is consecrated. Here the sacred has priority. And that, by itself, changes everything. But perhaps the most important of all, more than the physical place, the box, the objects, or the words, be the look you launch on money. For a long time, we were taught to see money as a burden, as a source of sin, as something incompatible with spirituality. Father Pio never preached that. On the contrary, he believed that true faith transforms the material into an instrument of the divine. That money, when used with responsibility and love, becomes a bridge, not prison. And maybe you need to start there, changing your mindset. Stop thinking about money as a problem. Stop saying that everything is expensive, that you can't do anything, that never left. These words create reality, and the universe responds. Begin to say, I honor every penny that comes to me. I attract solutions. I am learning to thrive with conscience. This change of speech is the beginning of a new cycle. Your home can now be a magnetic field of financial blessings. And it doesn't matter if today you have little or a lot. What matters is how you take care, how you honor, how you plant. Because growth will come, and he will come to the exact extent of his willingness to align the visible with the invisible. If you heard here, you have started this process, and maybe you didn't even realize it, but something inside you has already changed. A new perception was installed. And what you will do with it is what will determine the next chapters of your financial life. Father Pio said, where there is faith, there are miracles. And perhaps the biggest miracle today is this. You look at your home, your money, your habits with new eyes. And with these eyes, see what was once invisible. And with this new look, make different choices. And before we end, I want to ask you something with love, but also boldly. If this message has played you, subscribe now on this channel, not like who pushes any button, but as he says in a low voice, I choose a new way of living. This is not just a video here, it is a space of awakening, of healing, of reconnection with what is true. What's more, write in the comments what you learned from this video. Which part made you reflect the most? What habit will you change today? But don't stop there. If you have a story, a spiritual experience, an experience with the energy of the house, or even a testimony of change after realizing these standards, share. This space is a community, and your story may be the thread of light that will guide someone who is in the dark now. Do not underestimate the power of your experience. Here, each comment is a moving prayer. Every word of yours may be the answer to someone else's prayer. So talk. Conte, participate. Remember, you are not alone. There is a silent chain of people awakening day after day to a life more aligned with what really matters. And if you have gotten here, it is because you are ready to live this new reality. Now it's your turn, with faith, with courage, with love.